Hello, welcome to this video where we will introduce the Proface Blue Open Studio Light SCADA product. Okay, just to reiterate the Proface HMI centric concept, this is the concept where the Proface hardware slash software is sitting in the middle of your IT and OT layers in bridging in allowing you to bridge the gap between the OT and the IT worlds. Okay. All right. So getting into Blue Open Studio line management light SCADA product. Okay. Blue Open Studio is a development in runtime software that gives you all the tools users need to create SCADA HMI applications, dashboards, and OEE interfaces. And if you look here at the capabilities, what you can see is a pretty comprehensive list of all the different capabilities that exist within Blue Open Studio. And one of the strengths is that these capabilities are all built in. There are very little add-ons and additions that you need. So you buy the tool once and you basically have all these different capabilities ready to go out of the box. Okay. Okay. How does Blue Open Studio fit in with the HMI centric concept? Right. It has high flexibility, has an open architecture, especially in the Windows platforms. Okay. Meaning Windows tools, etc., can be used within the projects. Right. Over 250 native communication drivers. Right. So many drivers to connect to a lot of different things at the OT and IT levels. Okay. And then the flexibility to choose the right license that you need. So you don't buy more than you need. If you only need 1,000 tags, you can buy 1,500 tags, for example. Okay. Simple visibility. You could create business intelligent dashboards. We have templates and different example parts available for you to use. And then you have an HTML5 access from any HTML5 browser with the mobile access functionality. And then you have strong reliability. You have Schneider's end-to-end cybersecurity. Okay, you have full compatibility with older version projects, meaning you can take old projects and just open them all in new versions. Okay, and you have a stress-free environment because we have validated our association with our hardware and software. So using Proface hardware and Proface software, these are validated architectures that you can rely on. Okay. We have an association with the PS6000. So the PS6000 is the latest IPC offering from Proface. So obviously we want to associate the Blue Open Studio offer with bundling it with the PS6000 hardware. So you have three main points here. You have full supported integration on the hardware, software, and the operating system, right? Okay. Configured to order, right? With the possibility of having the software pre-installed and pre-licensed. Okay. You also have the ability to do a configure to order, or you can actually have applications preloaded. And again, we're talking about one supplier, one level of compatibility, cutout compatibility for many years and back and going forward. And then the same, and we're talking about if you're using the embedded products, meaning the non-Windows version, you have the same development tool develops for both the Windows and the embedded products. Okay, so here's the recommended hardware and runtime license association. These are just kind of guidelines to kind of give you a picture of where you could possibly position the different versions of the runtime, right? So if we talk about the Edge box, which is basically the Linux runtime Edge box, so okay, so we're talking about no screen, etc. You're talking about maybe you know, an established connection at a system. So maybe we're going to connect up to an old piece of machinery that we're going to get some data out of and push up to the OT layer, right? Something like that. 500 tags, etc. Small scale. Then we get into machine control, And now maybe we can do this with an edge box, perhaps. Maybe that could be a part of the system, has a, say a gateway to an OT layer, for example. But at the end of the day here, we're talking more about a Windows runtime, 1,500 tags. We're going to basically standalone machinery, um, machine management type stuff. Now, as we move up the scale, just basically in the number of tags, maybe we're going to use more capability out of the software, etc. Now we're into some line management things. And then at the top, we're looking at a full, say, light SCADA package where we're going to, say, manage an entire facility rather than just single machines. Okay, and here we go. So our maximum tag count is 64,000 tags. Okay, so if we look at the lineup as far as the product offers in Blue Open Studio, right? We're talking about, so if we look at the product offers and we're talking about the different thin clients, right? So if we start here in the upper left, we have the ability to have what we call, which has been around for many years. We have the secure viewer thin client. So this is basically the native viewer that you can run locally and remotely. It's using an executable, and it's based on old technology, but it's giving us basically the mirror of the runtime, either locally or remotely. Like I said, if we move to the right and we look at the mobile access piece, this is basically, instead of using the ActiveX technology, now what we're doing is we are basically viewing and operating our project in HTML5. So, completely agnostic, any HTML5 compatible browser allows you to do this. Okay. Now, if we look at the different build times, right? Those are building for both the Windows and the Linux platform. All right, and you can see here's all the supported operating systems. Okay. And then if we look at the Blue Open Studio, if we look at the different runtimes, here's the different versions that it will run on. And then what we can do is we can point out a fairly new development, and that's this Linux edge box. So note that this Linux, the STM6000 edge box, does come with a baked-in 500 tag runtime. Okay. Again, now, so if we look at the different ways we can have license keys, you have the ability to save your key to a hard key. So this is a USB dongle, right? And the email process is the digital process of exchanging licenses, etc., with our site codes, etc. There's a process where we burn our license to the hard key. And then obviously the hard key is what contains the license. So it's nice because it's easy to reuse. You can move it from machine to machine. If a computer dies, etc., now you still have the key. You can still license. Okay. The cons are it does, you have to pay a fee for the key. It's not a lot of money, but there is a cost for it. And then of course the biggest risk is that if the key breaks or gets lost, it's just gone. You've basically that cost is gone forever. Okay. The soft key is the pros. There's no physical equipment to lose, etc. The con is just basically, the cons of it are basically transferring licenses if you needing to reactivate, etc. Okay. So sometimes what we could say is perhaps we could recommend, say, a hard key for a build time, so that way you can always have that build time in place no matter what. If your computer crashes or whatever, you just move the key, just reinstall, and now you've got a licensed build time. And then maybe a soft key for the runtime, because you don't want to have to deal with, hard keys at customer locations, etc. Okay. All right, so how do we order Blue Open Studio licenses for Windows? Okay. So when we're talking about a PS6000 series industrial PC, the association is that we're going to configure to order. Okay, so we're going to order a runtime license in association with the industrial PC. So it'll be basically another checkbox in the configuration. And in this case, you'll have 4 different licenses that you can choose from. Okay, 1.5K tag all the way up to 64,000 tags with a 4K and a 32K steps in between. Okay, so the build time licenses and the runtime licenses for Proface IPCs and third-party PCs and open boxes. Okay, okay, you need to order standalone licenses, right? Which means the license part numbers are different for a third-party IPC versus a Proface IPC. Okay, and same if you want to order additional build time licenses, those are separate from the runtimes that you bundle with the PS6000. Okay, and then note the STM 6000 Edge box. The STM 6000 Edge box does include a pre-installed and pre-activated 500 tag runtime license, but you still will need at least a 1500 tag build time license. Okay, so when we're talking about ordering it for Linux, okay, that just like when I touched on the license is pre-installed, okay, but we can do a build time. We need to buy a build time and our runtime license. Okay, one of the things you can upgrade the runtime from 500 tag to 1.5K tag or 4. Note that if you need to go all the way up to 4K tag, you need to buy it in steps. You buy the 1.5K and you buy the 4K. Okay. Feature focused. Okay, so when we're talking about our comprehensive light SCADA for, basically we have the ability with all the different functions and features, we can scale this solution very easily for SCADA, HMI, and IoT solutions. So you can see just kind of pointing out some of the key features here. You'll notice here in the development environment, we've got a nice project explorer. We've got a nice and powerful debug and window here that allows you to watch values, etc. You've got a ribbon interface at the top, so you're kind of used to that in from the office environment, and then you have a nice working area for the screens, and then again you have a very powerful output window where you can monitor basically all communications and all activities that the runtime is doing for easy troubleshooting. Right, so again, so just as a bit of a product overview, when we talk about some of the main features, so the software does have the ability to be programmed to be FDA 21 CFR Part 11 compliant, right? The way that it accomplishes this is that there are logging systems, logging activities with traceability, and then you have this ability to do e-signatures, which makes sure that when an operator does something, that they fully acknowledge that they're doing it, and that gets logged in the event logger as an event. Okay. We're talking about a product that's supporting different open architectures, right? TCP/IP, .NET, ActiveX, OPC, client and server, very important these days. Okay, and all the other, again, in HTML are key points at this point. Another very powerful feature, built-in database interface, right? So this is built into the product, no add-ons required. Typically we're connecting to SQL, Server, Oracle, MySQL, Sybase are all supported. Okay, and then again, like we talked about before, a lot of drivers for PLCs, controllers, motion controllers, RFID readers, and many other devices, many IT and OT layer drivers. Again, talking about mobile access, being able to access the device from any HTML5 compatible browser. Okay. There are import wizards to allow you to import projects from competitive products, from PanelMate and then Panel Builder and Factory Talk, giving you the ability to import, hopefully as much as possible from one of those projects. That is an add-on piece. That is one thing that is added on. Industrial graphics, so that's something that came in a couple of versions. So basically you have compatibility in that you have the ability to not only use the built-in graphics that come with Blue Open Studio, but you also have the ability to basically create your screens with the Aviva Industrial Graphics Editor that can give you a common portfolio look with other Aviva products. Okay. Okay, then here, like we talked about, here's the FDA traceability. One thing I guess I didn't mention yet. There is a security system supporting LDAP and distributed security. So this is one aspect of FDA approval that you have to have, right? So this is a fully functional security system with timed out passwords, etc. With a lot of different settings that you can do to support whatever kind of security you want. And then here's where we were talking about this ability to do an e-sign on a different object. So when you're enforcing an e-signature for somebody to do the respective task. And like I said, that is logged in the event logger. Okay. Blue Open Studio has an open architecture, and, okay, and what we mean by that is that it's allowing us to basically tie ourselves to the different OT layers using all the different types of drivers, and in doing using these third-party or open architecture type things like OPC UA and MQTT, mobile access with HTML. Same thing, making dashboards, etc., from HTML, from widgets, etc. Different things, different technologies that are open to use in the product. Again, database, uh, interface. Okay, so basically, it's opening up the ability to do many things. So if you have the ability to do it, again, using say widgets or .NET controls or third-party things, the sky is the limit with the product because of its openness. Okay, here's where we're specifically talking about the built-in database interface. Again, a very strong feature about this product, and again, it's completely built in without any add-ons. And you can see here on the list, on the right-hand side, you know, easy connectivity with all these different services plus more. Okay, again, a variety of drivers for IT, right? So if we're talking on the IT level, we've got OPC, OPC UA server and client, MQTT, etc. For the OT layer, we're talking about all the different types of PLCs, scales, Ethernet drivers, serial drivers, field bus drivers, etc. Okay. Now we're talking, this is just a slide discussing more about the mobile access. So what we're talking about here with mobile access is this is the ability to have you can have different interfaces that are built into the mobile access piece that are separate from your normal project development. So you can have different alarm controls, etc. Okay. On the right-hand side here, we're talking about have the ability to embed custom widgets, right, that you can create using HTML5 and Java, and then these custom widgets can be embedded into your Blue Open Studio project and hook into the variables, etc. Okay, so again, so the sky's the limit on what you have the ability to embed. So whatever you can make here can be embedded into the product, into your runtime system. Okay. Okay. This is talking about the import wizards, right? So we have three. We've got the panel mate for Eaton, Cutler, Hammer. These are the versions. Panel builder from Rockwell and Factory Talk from Rockwell. Okay, so what we're talking about is we want a little wizard. We have Rockwell software, and then we basically use the tool to import it in to our Blue Open Studio. This is talking a little bit more about the Aviva Industrial Graphics Editor. So this is the graphics editor from the Aviva product. So this is common to their product line. So it's if you're familiar with System Platform and Aviva InTouch, this is using the same base editor. So it can be used in parallel or has a completely an alternative to the native editor. So you can make a project using both editors or just one or the other. And then at the end, this is providing a unified look and feel with the user experience that somebody will have with Aviva software. Okay. Here's just a little bit about the build time user interface with the ribbons, etc. Okay. Here's a list of all the different part numbers. Okay. Version up licenses. Okay. Thank you for your time.